I'm live. Sit down. I don't want to see your belly. Tuck the shirt. Hey, this is our first live broadcast, and obviously the sunlight's kind of gone down, so we're having to use a little artificial lighting, and apologies for that. So I wanted to welcome you all to the Nascent GM podcast. This is part of the Offline Cafe. Tonight, joining me, I have special guest host and my son, Harald. Yeah, that's about as goofy as he is. But what we're going to do tonight first is we are going to talk about where we are with our gaming and where things have come to this point. And then we're going to talk about something that came up recently. So first of all, Harald, I'm going to do something that I've seen in other podcast things. Tell us about how you got into gaming. I mean, I know how you got into gaming because I'm a good father. But tell them how you got into gaming and tell us what's been one of your favorite gaming memories so far.
So I'm not giving out the teller stick, okay. Okay, when did I first get into gaming? I think I was like 8 years old. We played this game that we got for Christmas called Little Wizards. I still think it's awesome.
It is. It's sitting up there on the shelf.
We never finished that.
No, we never did.
Never did.
But
so anyway,
what's been one of your favorite gaming memories so far?
I have like 3.
Okay, what are your 3 favorite gaming memories?
One, it was with my group that I've made with my friends, Hardwick's Raiders. My friend threw a stick of dynamite into a moving car. That's always epic.
With Nazis.
With Nazis in there, nonetheless. And,
if you don't remember the other ones, that's fine.
No. What was it?
Which game was it?
This was in my, and then this happened about a month ago in our most recent game, Necessary Evil. I punched a guy, and he turned into ash. I literally falcon punched the guy.
Okay.
And then one of my friends, on the same game where we blew up a car filled with Nazis with dynamite, on that same game, one of my friends tried to throw a bullet casing at a Nazi officer because that was his shtick. He had a box of bullet casings he'd just throw at people. He critically failed on the roll. He got snake eyes, and he threw it into his shoe. So he was like, oh, come on. That was freaking awesome.
Well, didn't he end up saving the day with those bullet shells?
I saved the day with those bullet shells.
You saved the day with one of the bullet shells. And you threw it into the engine of a stuck jet aircraft on the back of a train. And I apologize for the bad lighting. I really wish I could do better on. But
hey, everybody else uses artificial light. Why can't we?
Oh, we can use artificial lighting, but it's just bad lighting because all we have is the one sort of spot. But that's okay. So, moving on. Last Thursday, once again, we did the next session of the Offline Cafe. We've got 8 awesome people who regularly attend. It might be 9 if my kids make it this week, both of them, because the last 2 weeks, the week before that, my daughter was sick and my son was there. Or no, she was out of town with her friend who got her sick.
And I was there.
And he was there. And then the week before that,
she was okay.
And they were both gone.
Oh yeah, we were both sick.
Or no, it was 2 weeks before that they were both gone. But even so.
Ah, yes, I wish we weren't.
So we give a shout out to Matthew and Camden.
Fire and blood and ashes.
Yeah, you want to keep that down too.
All right.
For your characters. Yeah. But so we give a shout out to Camden, and we give a shout out to Alex and Adam, and also a shout out to Steven, our newest member of the Offline Cafe.
Oh yeah.
Anybody else who you guys
Ari?
would? Any guy? Oh, and Ari. We can't forget Ari. So anybody else who lives in the area that would like to drive in on Thursdays from 6 to about 9, we are playing Crystal Heart currently, but we're about to split the tables because with 9 people at the table, it's getting pretty crowded. So Ari is probably going to step up and take a Game Master slot, and then he'll have 3 gamers, and then I'll still continue to Game Master the Crystal Heart campaign, then we'll all have 3 gamers. But what will happen is as we continue to roll forward, we can continue to bring more Game Masters in. If you missed my Game Master boot camp, that was back in July. I gave that boot camp twice, and Ari, Matthew, Alex, and Adam are my 4 Game Masters. And so as we continue to split and grow, if anybody wants Game Master boot camp training, I'm going to offer the next one again next month in October. That date has not been scheduled yet, but I will have it scheduled this week. So with that, let's see. We're going to talk today about the fact that part of what I set out to do with this is I wanted to get a good, clean Game Master training and Game Master video set. And there are several people who are working on some really cool stuff. I want to make it Savage Worlds approachable, but maybe I can even eventually add in some other systems as well, because I am playing in a 5th edition D&D game, and it's a blast. My friend Jeff runs that. He is amazing. And I also give shouts out to Nate, his brother Lauren.
That's his brother? I thought it was like his son-in-law or something.
No, his brother. And Evan and Logan. They are some of my very best friends. I love you guys. You guys just really make my month. I look forward to our gaming nights more than almost any other thing that we do. And that actually, the last gaming night that I did with them, we did the last one. We had to keep bumping it until we ended up on the 31st. Still had some people who flaked out on us. One went to a Sting concert. One was in Washington. Come on.
Sting.
Sting. No, Sting is awesome. And he probably made the right decision to go to Sting instead of coming to the game with us. However, he missed us. He texted us during the concert and said, "What am I missing?" So that tells you guys what kind of fun, Evan. That tells you what kind of fun a role-playing game can be. You really will miss it. So, let's see here. Let's see if we can't get this a little bit over to get a little less window in there. So, here's what we're going to talk about now, Harald and I, is we're going to, you can stop fist bumping and things like that. Mm-hmm. I know you feel you want to do something. And that's
I'm excited.
That's part of the reason why we're doing this discussion is because part of role-playing, there's a lot of role-playing game mastering tips out there. Getting back to my earlier point, I actually game master 3 different games right now. I'd like to add in some more, but we'll see how that happens. I'm going to actually try and do. Excuse me. I'm going to try and do a live play, or not a live play, but a distance play with some friends, because I have one friend who's always on the road and he's out and about. He'd love to get back into gaming, but there's nothing that really going for him. So we're going to probably use a virtual tabletop like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds if I can afford to get that eventually. We're going to get that up and going. So we're gonna try a I say I'm a lot. I apologize, but we're gonna try to get a remote play going with myself, Jeremy, and maybe Eddie and Adam. Just kind of get a little group going together. So Harald, how many game masters sit at a table during a role playing game?
1.
There's one game master usually. Sometimes you'll have a co-game master, and that can get tricky.
Yeah, because for a minute I thought this was like a trick question. So
no, it's not a trick question. But if you look at the internet, you look at YouTube here, you look at all the different places, there is more GM advice out there than there is player advice.
And we're going to fix that.
We're going to start fixing that. And we're going to try and do at least maybe every other video something with some player advice. Actually, we're going to try and add player advice in along with GM advice. So that's what we're going to try and do, is try and balance the GM advice and the player advice in this podcast, well, in this series. It'll be a podcast eventually. I keep promising you that, but it will be. So, man, here's one of the other downsides, Harald. Look how much reflection I'm getting on my cheek. See, I was a theater major. So maybe I should be putting some pancake on and getting my skin to stop shining so much. Harald's in decent lighting, actually, but I'm sitting right next to the light up over here. But anyway, so Harald, what does it mean to be a player? For one thing, they outnumber you as a game master.
Yes, which means that if you make a stupid decision, we can all gang up on you.
However, as a game master, you are in control of that universe.
But don't do something stupid.
So, because of that, let's see if we can't brighten things up a little bit. I got some good brightening on the camera last time. But anyway, so what it does mean, though, is you are one specific spot and one specific part of that game. Do you think that maybe that means you should try and be that character as best you can?
Yes.
Okay, now...
But don't go full method actor.
Well, you can't. Immersion is a falsehood. You can talk about an immersive gaming experience all you want.
It's
but
only
immersion,
if there's virtual reality.
Immersion, even virtual reality, at some point, you can feel the thing on your skin. And the most immersive virtual reality experience we've ever experienced was down at the Void. And we got to be stormtroopers getting off a shuttle on Mustafa or whatever it is.
Mustafar. Mustafar.
I reject your extended universe.
I didn't come up with a name or the... Actually, wait. Oh my gosh. That's where Whiny McSkywalker got burned.
Well, the cool thing about the experience that we had is that we got off the shuttle in the virtual reality, which incidentally, you could feel the shuttlecraft seats at the Void. It was so
you
cool.
can actually sit on them. It is crazy.
And then you walk off, and you're in the corridor going into Mustafar, and you can feel the wafts of heat. You're a mile above the planet.
Yeah, you're like on this floaty skiff thing.
And you can feel the heat brushing up against your face.
I could feel the lava beneath me.
It was really amazing, the feel. And then there's a point where you get guns, and you actually have practical guns in your hands, and they look just like blasters inside this thing. And it adjusts the height of to the height of the person wearing it. So my daughter, who is 5'1",
but at the time she was like 4'8".
I look over at her, and a little short for a stormtrooper has nothing going on this.
I was laughing so hard.
And it was an awesome experience. Thank you, Tracy, for arranging that. Mr. Tracy Hickman, you are one of our heroes.
And good job with Nicodemus. It scared the crap out of me.
Another interactive virtual reality there at the Void. So that's what leads me into being a player, though, is that first of all, well, let's break it down this way. There are 3 reasons, and yes, I do the more European 3. American Sign Language is my 3rd language, so
translation, I have no clue.
He's still learning. Although sign was the first language he was exposed to, so it'll happen. Anyway, we make 3 reasons for 3 decisions in a role-playing game as a player. First, it's a game. Second, the character would make that. We have a role. And third, I would make that decision because I'm the player. Role-playing game. So sometimes, yes, you do the Munchkin thing. You know what Munchkins are, Harald, in role-playing games?
Short little weirdos who sing?
No.
Yeah, really,
Munchkins in
really
role-playing
squeaky
games
voices.
are people who take the rules and they try to make their character the absolute best using those rules. So I jokingly hear the guys on the GM podcast, the Savage Worlds GM podcast, call it Fighty McFighterson from Fightertown. And if you want to make a guy who does oodles of damage and is the coolest guy in the world, you get something like this, and you end up...
Dungeons and Dragons. You're awesome, but you're too complicated.
No, not necessarily. It's not necessarily a complication.
You know,
Dungeons and Dragons is
It took
good
me
at
a
doing
week to make a character.
Dungeons and Dragons is good at doing what Dungeons and Dragons does. So once you've got your race, say you pick the classic fighter, and you take that classic fighter and you decide you are going to maximize all the damage that fighter can do. So you're going to take advantage of each one of these advancements as you get them. You're going to get the best armor. You're going to get the best weapons. You're going to cause the most damage with every swing of your sword. You are the stuff when it comes to fighting. Who cares about charisma? Because you are a fighter. And hey, Fighty McFighterson from Fightertown is effective. Actually, if you're going to do something that's kind of munchkined out like that, where you've used all the tweaks and plugs and everything to make the rules, you know what you do, Harald? You actually make that character so he is weak in charisma. So he is weak in
Persuasion.
Other things like that. Because, frankly, he's
Rumble McSkirmish from Fight Fighters.
Yeah, Rumble McSkirmish or Fighty McFighterson. You make that guy so that's all he does. And what he in turn does, and make him an idiot. Make him so he's no fun, but you have other members of your party that are wizards and thinkers and clerics and things like that. So that way everybody gets a chance to shine. So Game Master tip here. As the Game Master, my job is to make sure that your character shines, gets a chance to do what he does best. So that way, yes, he can pose. He can be, And if he's fighting McFighterson from Fightertown, give him a fight. However, a lot of fun can also be had by making Fighting McFighterson not able to fight. And so he has to depend on his friends to get him out of those precarious situations. Incidentally...
Am I the only one who actually loved to hear a story about this Mary Sue who actually got a critical fail?
Oh, it's always funny and we'll get to Mary Sue in a second. So this one is my new favorite book, and I love this thing. I cringed when I found that I'd already dented the corner, but I'm going to buy more of these because I'm going to have enough for people to borrow from me, so that way they can learn the rules well enough to play better.
Yep.
So that's one of the things. Now come back here. That's one of the things that I also give as a player tip. Try to know enough of the rules that you can be a better player, so that you're not holding up the flow of the game. So, let's make that the going forward topic here. How does the game flow, Harald? You've been in some games that we've played where the game didn't flow at all. Sometimes our Friday group doesn't flow, does it? Sometimes we just get together, we shoot the crap, and we don't even get started until we have like 10 minutes left, and we try to maybe do one round of combat.
Yeah.
That sounds like an occasional Friday group, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what is it that bothers you about that?
We spend more time creating our characters.
Speak loud.
Sorry. We spend more time creating the characters than actually getting some friggin' action.
Yeah.
What's the fun if there's no action?
That's true. However, we had a kind of a similar experience last night, didn't we? We had...
Okay, that was partially my fault. I admit.
Because you got to get chores done, don't you? If you don't get your chores and your schoolwork done, I don't have time to work with you on making your character before the game night.
So I thought it was about the TikToks I was making.
Oh, that was part of it too. But you had fun with that.
Yeah.
And having fun with your friends is what this is really all about. It also does teach, it can teach inter-party leadership, but it also teaches interpersonal interaction. So you actually have to learn how to deal with real people around a real table, huh? Which is kind of lost on a virtual tabletop. But so, Harald, what does flow in a game mean to you? It's not a hard question. Just answer it if you can. What is just off the top of your head? What does it mean to you? If I said that, wow, that game really flowed well tonight.
That means it perfectly. It just did that. It flowed. It was like a stream. Everything worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah. So one of the things, and probably the first thing you should be doing, is you should be making sure there's flow in your game, meaning that there's a start, there's a middle, and an end for that gaming session. And usually, I like to try and include one combat at least. But last night, we only had one partial combat. We actually ended on a cliffhanger. But what did you think about last night's game, Harald? Once we actually got your
fun.
Character finished and going.
No, someone finished.
Hold on, my wife wants to ask if I'm done yet. I'm just going to answer her quick question. So, Harald, tell us about your 3 characters that you have right now. You have 3 games.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about your 3 characters. Don't give us the long version. Give us the short version. Tell us who they are in just a couple sentences and what kind of powers they have. Go ahead and
So
tell
my
us that.
character in Necessary Evil, named Svarog, Russian god of fire, and he is literally that. He can light himself on fire. And it's also it's like Venom if he was a fire entity. Like he's a symbiote that needs to attach to something living. I'm sorry, I still need to work out the details.
So, Harald, that Venom thing that you brought up, let's talk about that for a second. Savage Worlds, how did we trap that you have a living fire entity inside of your character? Trapping means how you express it. What did we do? What was the
voice in my head? Delusional. Although I'm not actually delusional. It is actually speaking to me inside my head, saying, devour, burn. I'm like, okay, geez, stop. Get to a Yo Mama battle later. Okay, get it started.
Yeah. Okay, so he's got, he actually has a real creature living inside of him that's part of him, and he has to talk to us sometimes. So he comes across as delusional. It is with this
character that I turned a guy into ash.
Okay, so what about...
I turned a guy to ash.
So what about your Crystal Heart character?
My Crystal Heart character.
One for the Offline Cafe.
Yes. One moment, please.
I'm just in here to grab some things of mine.
Okay.
Ignore my existence.
That's my daughter, Clara, and we'll have her as a guest. We'll have her as a guest host on the show at another time. So, Crystal Heart character, Harald.
Crystal Heart character, Elias Clegane.
Oh. Sorry.
In 2 sentences, tell us who he is.
He's a politician. He's cunning. He's smart. And he says, insults.
Brother.
What?
Brother.
And he adventures with his brother.
Oh, yes, he also adventures with his brother, played by Matthew.
And then also, your 3rd character.
Oh. You gotta be kidding.
Your 3rd character, who's...
Although, wait, before we move on to the 3rd character.
What powers does he have?
Oh. What do I have? Really? Conscious sense?
Yeah,
conscious sense, yeah.
So, I have the ability... So, my crystal gives me the ability to detect consciousness, and I can wake somebody up, and at the same time put them to sleep.
Okay.
Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes I need to hammer into people's skulls.
And actually, this is one that does show up in the Crystal Hearts comic under a different name.
Yes.
So if you're not
Read
reading
the
up,
comic.
if you're not reading up to 4players.com, read it. Okay. And then finally, who's your third character? The one you just played last night.
Okay, this one's gonna be a little bit tougher.
Well, just in 2 sentences.
So his name is Nightmare.
Okay.
He has 2 abilities: telepathy, and he uses telepathy to read your mind, find your worst fears, and then uses another power from a stone he found in his backyard to create an illusion.
No, did you do that through super sorcery, or is it just the illusion power? Are you no longer a magician?
I never intended to be a magician.
I thought.
Ah.
Ever.
Okay. So that's.
I'm more like Green Lantern than Doctor Strange.
Okay.
It's
So
like Green Lantern meets Mysterio.
okay. So I misunderstood last night, and that's because we didn't actually get a chance to create the character. Had you come in and sat down with me to create the character.
There is no actual magic involved. I mean,
Okay.
he just used to be like an illusionist, I should have said. Not a magician, but an illusionist.
Well,
But-
isn't that what a magician is? An illusionist? Because they perform illusions?
Not Doctor Strange. That's not an illusion.
Well, tell you what, we'll add a second guest host, my daughter Clara. Clara, go grab the black chair, sit it right here, and we'll
Oh, I'm
finish
just
up.
in here for now.
Well, you're brushing your hair, so you can
Eh,
you can
fine.
join us. So because we'll just wrap this up here pretty soon. It's almost
Ow!
it's been 26 minutes, so in about 3.5 minutes we'll wrap this up. But we're talking about characters and being better players.
Oh.
So
And one thing I need to point out: last night, there was like what are they called again? like troops
Black
coming
Dragon
in?
oh,
Knights.
the Black Dragon Knights.
Yeah, Black Dragon
I
Knights.
remembered.
I made some of them in a few squadrons. I made their brains think they got hit by a nuke. They're gonna be in a coma for about a week
So
or a month. I forgot.
there you go. And so that's one of the illusion applications of his illusion. So Clara, you actually have 2 characters because you are helping out in his Friday group now.
Yeah.
Wait,
Wait, what about my... I have 3.
if you're counting the
oh,
one
yeah.
on Friday group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is the offline cafe group. So go ahead and start with your offline cafe group.
Okay, so her name's Echo Rev. And in Norwegian, Rev
Pay
means
attention.
wolf. And her nickname is also
Pay
Wolf.
attention to her.
E.
Actually, Norwegian Ulv is wolf.
Google Translate lied to me.
Anyway, keep going.
2 sentences to describe her. Crazy Islander.
Crazy Islander, what does she want?
What does she want? To take down Sin. For fun.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
I'm
That
not
could
doing
be
this.
that could be worked in. We'll see how that goes.
Because she's insane. But she doesn't... She acts more derpy and silly.
Okay. So what about your character
That's
for the Friday
insane.
group?
Well,
Necessary Evil, incidentally, for those of you who are not familiar with Savage Worlds and its super villain campaign, Necessary Evil, in which the super villains are actually the superheroes, so kind of anti-heroes. Superheroes without the scruples. So
The what?
well,
superheroes that don't have to hold themselves back.
her name's Juniper Woods, which is kind of funny because juniper, for those who don't know, is a wood. It's a tree. So,
Yeah.
Patrick Pampu.
I don't really know what her personality is yet.
She's good at sticking it to you. Bad pun.
Dad, please be kind and leave.
Oh, I think you really need to branch out. So, anyway.
Hey, Harald, I get my puns from my roots.
I'm to blame.
These jokes are really crappy.
No. We haven't gotten into those, and yes, they are crappy jokes. But anyway.
Nah.
So, what,
Sword just-
what is she?
Oh, hey, I didn't say what my crystal was. In the,
Oh, Crystal Hearts.
I have Wolf Spoon.
She's wanted it since the beginning. He had it at first, but then she got
And
it.
then he and I switched.
So, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know much with Junie yet because I just made her.
Well, what can she do?
She can teleport!
Things are
Kind of like Blink, where she has something and she throws it. But she has to see where she's throwing it.
And then finally, your character in the Friday game.
Hollow? Yeah,
She's a bug alien.
he's
a bug alien.
and his name's Hollow Luciano, which in Italian it means light. So it's Hollow Light.
But she is this bug alien dude.
Yeah.
Some of you know what she means.
So basically when he's human, well, looks human, he's as tall as Darth Vader. Tall!
heavens!
He's 7'2".
You a basketball player?
No. It's a bug in him.
But what it
And
but
when
what
he
this
accesses his armor, as I call it, not his bug form, he's
and what are his powers?
light. It's in the name.
So he can manipulate light, he can cause damage with light,
He can shoot light from his hands.
and he
but
uses light to
when-
touch and heal.
But if he uses his power like a bomb, it sucks his energy. So he's got to be careful.
Like Dagger and Cloak and Dagger.
So, yeah.
Just male.
Dagger is female.
No, but in this case, Dagger's
Oh.
male.
And
the
then-
character's male.
Try killing 100 people.
But anyway, so those are kind of some character things that we got going on, and we're going to do more stuff on being better players and better characters. And because I was playing my character in not yesterday, but the week before, I was playing my character, and my character, my game master told me that his blue bubble burst in my face, and I forgot who I was and what I was doing. So I started as my Thrycreen, which is a praying mantis that's about human size and has normal articulated arms. I was sitting there touching this big redwood type tree, looking at it, and one of my friends called my character's name Jedak. And they said, Jedak, and I said, who's Jedak? And I just kept paying attention to the tree. And my game master gave me an inspiration die for that because I totally just was in character. I actually said it in character, which kind of sounds like this, because one, when you do a voice at the table, there's no such thing as a bad voice.
No, alright.
Actually, if I stay back here, maybe that's better lighting. Anyway.
Yeah.
And two,
I'm still in the shadows.
And two, if you're playing Savage Worlds, your game master will probably give you a Benny. But two, when you're playing with a voice, even with that much movement, and maybe you're doing some movement like this, you can actually get a little better into your character's headspace and move like that character and be able to act that character.
That's why I like
in
being
your
in the
part
big
of play.
room on Thursdays.
Uh-huh.
It gives me more space to move around.
Yeah. So anyway, well, that's been a little over half an hour. We got dinner calling us. It sounds really good, so I'm looking forward to eating it. My wife's made something awesome. So shout out to Corey.
Shout out to my mama.
Shout out to your mama.
Shout out to my mom.
I mean, she kind of married him to have us. So
everybody, this has been Mason.
Harald.
Clara.
And we here at the Offline Cafe want you to go out and make a great story together.
Yes.
Make
Story for life.
Make the world a better place by creating a great story. Have a good one, guys.
Ciao.
Keep rolling.